All right, I've put that in the chat. Add the article to the screen. All right, EC2 high memory instances with 18 terabytes or 24 terabytes of memory, now available with on-demand or savings plan purchase. So we talked
Correct.
about these instances before. These are what you would need if you're going to be running Business Suite. You need to load your entire business's everything into RAM.
Exactly.
But now we've got the savings plan purchase option.
Correct.
So,
And I think these are the ones where, again, these are super massive instances. I think the last time we computed, it was what, $1 million a year to run an instance of this size.
yeah.
And that's not going to be cheap. So, and the reality is that the kind of workloads you're running on this, you're basically running large enterprise ERP related systems and all the analytics associated with it. And it's not a system that you're going to basically shut down. These kind of systems are going to be used by global, multinational enterprises. So that fact that there's now a savings plan available, which can kind of hopefully, if you make a long enough commitment, you can get some pretty big savings. Definitely makes a ton of sense.
So for savings plans, for people who haven't used them before, okay, savings of up to 72% versus on demand. And
Correct.
you're totally right. If you're going to use this, you're not going to be using it on demand for a couple of hours. This is going to be a part of a plan.
Correct.
So
Yeah,
definitely...
it has to be part of a plan because the costs are just astronomically high. And if you're only using this for analytics and stuff like that, then yeah, if you can save 50, 60, 70%, depending on what your commitments are with savings plans, that's definitely a big boost to switching over to these very, very large instances.
And it's interesting with 24 terabytes, right? So on demand, you get charged
$1 million a year.
$1 million a year. So even if you're using it for a short term, I mean, with 24 terabytes of RAM, you still need to have it on for at least 2 or 3 hours just to load all the data in. I mean, even at if you can get 38 gigabytes per second into that, that's still going to take a little bit of time to fill up.
Correct. These are not the kind of instances you want to use like spot instances and just run them for a few minutes and shut them down. These are going to be systems where, in effect, the kind of workloads that you're running here, you're running the entire organization's databases in memory and doing super fast computes on them. That's the whole point of these data stores. I mean, these are HANA workloads that you're running, right? The HANA queries are going to be expensive and operating on supermassive data sets. So no, these are not the kinds of machines that you shut down. So on demand doesn't really make too much sense for the kind of people who use it. They might use a couple of instances just to try stuff out, making sure that everything is running. But once you know that this stuff is running, you want to get a savings plan and make sure that you're not paying crazy sums on these instances. And God forbid someone left a machine running and forgot to shut it off.
That would hurt.
That would hurt a lot.
All right. Well, I don't think there's too much more to cover. It's just a neat reminder of the scale of instances that you can get. And now that they're available in US East and Oregon and Asia Pacific.
Yep. In fact, I was just talking to, it's funny, I was just talking to a customer today. And I was telling him about when I first started coding, the maximum amount of RAM I had to operate with was about 4 MB. And when you look at 24 TB in comparison to that, like we had to rack our brains about the kind of algorithms we wrote, taking stuff from disk, putting it in memory, processing it, dumping it back, then taking another piece, putting it in memory, and then working on it, putting it back. Like the kinds of stuff we had to do with data structures. I think we even patented that data structure, if I'm not mistaken. It's crazy that you never have to think about those things anymore.
Well, people used to make fun of Emacs, saying it stood for 8 megs and constantly swapping. Now you look at, I don't know, the amount of memory that your average what was that framework? What Slack is written in?
Electron.
Electron, the average memory that
Yeah,
your average Electron app takes up. Like, oh, okay, 8 megs would be great.
correct. Yeah, I mean these. I mean it's a whole world of difference when you don't have to worry about either your computer or memory, and in relative terms, it's really cheap. Um, back then, I think my first computer that I bought, I think I paid something like $300 for the 4 MB of RAM, which is insane. It was like half the cost of the machine.
And that's when you can look at the DIM and you can say, okay, this one's half a
Correct.
megabyte, this one's half a megabyte, this is wow.
Very true. Well, that was
Well,
like 4 MB back then.
so with an instance this big, you might be able to run Microsoft Teams without it lagging on you.
Or Google Chrome for that matter with 20 tabs on.
There you go.
We found the
We'll have-
perfect use case for these instances.
All right. Well, what should we give this this article then?
Okay, I think I would give this a 4.5. This is, and then it definitely simplifies stuff for customers. So explicitly calling out a savings plan on the instance type, tells people to go use it, save some money right away. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. All right. Well, if that's all we've got on these large instances, let's move on to the next one, which is going to be Graviton instances for SageMaker.